Hey guys, Jack here with Jack's Low Carb Journey. As my granddaughter screams in the background as soon as I turn the camera on, I think episode 26. So, where are we at today? Third day in a row, no loss, no gain, 218.6, which since I started 11.5% of my total body weight. I expect that tomorrow morning or Sunday morning that I'll experience a drop somewhere between half to 1.2 pounds, somewhere in there. It's just a pattern that I've been running. And I actually want to talk about patterns as one of the 5 points that I'm going to talk about with you today. I'm going to do 5 questions, and that's pretty much the update. And we'll just jump right into this episode. This time I actually want to tell you the 5 questions before I start answering them. I think maybe that'll be more interesting for you. Number 1, I have a question on keto and how well it helps or doesn't help or exacerbates or causes issues with something called hypoglycemia, which is basically low blood sugar. I also have a question on how I reconcile my personal enjoyment of alcohol with the current keto regime I'm on, which allows me very little alcohol, a couple times a week, one drink, that type of thing. And people that know me know that that's a bigger deal for me than it would be for a lot of people. I also have a question I've kind of created for myself because of a lot of talk that's in my group and in keto groups that I'm part of. And that question is based and suggestions and back and forth. Should you quit weighing yourself daily? Some people, should they just not do it? And if so, how often should they weigh themselves? I also have a question that's kind of related to that. Why do women seem to have more stalls, slower weight loss, and more fluctuations up and down, even when they do everything right, than men? And then a question I absolutely did make for myself because of a statement made of what a healthcare professional said that is the stupidest thing so far that I have ever heard anybody with a medical license of any type, in this case a nursing license, say about ketogenics. The stupidest. I mean, I'm warning you that when I get to that and I tell you what this idiot said, you may find that your IQ suffers for at least about an hour after this video. You have been forewarned. So let's start off with, does keto help with hypoglycemia? Or does it hinder or does it cause problems with hypoglycemia? And this is something I have to reiterate. I am not a doctor. And while I might be able to point at the end of this how people with medical licenses, even like a nursing license, that's a type of medical license, can be really stupid and say things that I can actually absolutely tell you are stupid. I am not an MD. I am not a nurse. I am not a nurse practitioner. I'm not even a medical assistant. All right. So what I'm giving you is my personal experience. But if you ask my wife, how does eating low carb and ketogenically affect the problem of hypoglycemia, she will tell you it does great things as she rolls her eyes and thinks about times she's had to deal with me in a state of hypoglycemia. I would chronically end up in states of hypoglycemia if I wouldn't eat. I'm talking that I would be walking around ready to punch a hole in the wall because of the way that I felt, sweat pouring out of my face. And the only thing I could do to make it go away was just start eating, specifically carbohydrates and sugar, as much as possible. I'm talking like I would shove down like 3 chewy granola bars, eat a tablespoon of freaking peanut butter, grab a gummy bear bag and eat half a bag of gummy bears, eat some toast. And I mean like all of that. I don't mean like those were one of the things. I would eat all of that and more until it stopped. Because it is a horrible feeling. Your stomach feels like it's swimming. You start sweating everywhere. You're sweating and you're cold at the same time. And this is your blood sugar has plummeted. And it's probably because I've walked around for years, in and out of taking care of myself, like dancing with the type 2 diabetes devil, never quite going over the limit to type 2 diabetes, which I think we don't even... Type 2 diabetes is not what people think it is, guys. It is not a switch, like a binary. Like if you're type 1 diabetic, you're diabetic or you're not diabetic, right? Type 2 diabetes is more like somebody turns up a dimmer switch on insulin resistance, and once you get to a certain level, medicine calls it diabetes. So I was probably actually what they would call pre-diabetic and having bouts of hypoglycemia with blood sugar swings back and forth. And it was to the point where, this is, years ago before I even did anything low carb, that if my wife and I were going to go somewhere in public, and I hadn't eaten yet that day. And I'm like, yeah, I can wait for lunch. She's like, you We'll eat something before we leave because I'm not dealing with you. And all I can say, again, not a medical professional, just what my experience has been, is that in the last 54 days, most of that time, all but 1 week of it, I have been eating 2 meals a day. My general timeline between meals has been between 18 and 19 hours between my evening meal and my next day meal. If I had done that when I was eating carbohydrates, I would have turned into psychopathic, what is it, Mr. Hyde Jack, like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, like it's bad, and it have had none. Can I say it'll work for everybody? I don't know. I'm not a medical professional. However, what this immediately made me think of was Paul Blart Mall Cop, where he would have a low blood sugar episode. He would just like freeze up, and then he would eat a piece of candy, and he would feel better. If you have low blood sugar, some sugar is the solution, but I wouldn't get my medical advice from Paul Blart Mall Cop. And the individual that asked this question on Facebook said, my doctor said I need to eat something every 2 hours. I don't want to say that I'm smarter than this doctor because I guarantee you he knows a lot of things I don't. But I don't know if maybe I would be getting my medical advice from that doctor either. Because I bet you if you tell that doctor that you're on a ketogenic diet, they will tell you, oh, that's terrible, you're going to die. Which we all know is, it's bullshit. So that's my anecdotal experience. But I'm going to bet you that as people start watching this video that have had bouts of hypoglycemia, that have gone on keto and stayed on keto and done it right, you're going to hear other stories like mine. I'm going to just go out there on a limb and guess and bet that that's the case. Next was, how do I reconcile my personal enjoyment of alcoholic beverages with my keto regime? And the answer is that I want to be thin and fit and live more than I want to have booze. That's it. It's called being a grown-up. It's called being a grown-up and going, okay, look, it's nice to have a couple, 3, 4 drinks, especially like on a weekend or something like that, or at a party or social thing. Yeah, it's great. Okay, but I abused my body for years and years, and I made myself a great big fat ass. If I want to not be a great big fat ass, if I want to not be on blood pressure medication, which I'm not, but I don't want to go on it, if I don't want to be on oral or other types of insulin products in the future, if I don't want to have full-blown metabolic syndrome, which is kind of where I was at when this all started, if I don't want to die, then I need to defat my fat ass. Okay? And I have defatted almost 30 pounds of fat off my fat ass, and I have, honestly, about another 25 pounds to go. I'm right about the halfway mark. And it's going to take me a lot longer for that second half than it did that first half. I did the first half in about 50 days. It's probably going to take me close to 100 more days to get down to like the 190-pound weight, like the fighting weight that I need to be at. And during that time, there might be a couple, I'm going to have a big party that's called our fall event. I'm going to drink during that. Thanksgiving's going to come. I'm going to have Thanksgiving Day. I'm going to eat, drink, and be merry. Christmas Day, we're going to have a Christmas party before Christmas Day. And Christmas Day, I'm going to be with my family. We're probably going to kill a bottle of wine. But it's going to be those rare instances, and I'll go right back onto it, and I get to have a drink or two a week, counting the carbs and the calories until I'm not a fat ass anymore. How do I reconcile it? I want to live more than I want to drink booze. See how it works. It's called being a fucking adult, right? And it's called not being a fucking alcoholic. And if you can't make this sacrifice when your health is at stake, then I think you probably need some help at a professional level with the alcohol issue. I really do. So, as much as I drank, it was kind of astonishing to me how easy it was for me to stop drinking. When I decided to do this, 50 some odd days ago, I went 3 weeks without a drop of alcohol. I just didn't drink. I wasn't happy about it, but And after 3 weeks, when I had a drink, I was like, that wasn't nice. And one of the things I said during an interview that I gave yesterday to a friend who has a podcast was that what I've learned about alcohol since doing that is pretty interesting. I actually really enjoy when I have a drink now. A lot more than I did. I was drinking just a drink. I'd be working while having a highball. That's not good. That's not enjoying it. And now I'll sit down and have like one low carb mixed drink, or I'll have one glass of wine. And I will wait till after dinner. I will wait till my food's set a little bit. I put the ducks to bed. I'm done. I don't have to go out anymore. It's like 8 o'clock. I'll have a single drink. And an hour and a half to 2 hours later, I am done. I don't mean I'm buzzed. I don't mean I'm drunk. I mean, when I go to bed, out. And it's amazing the sedative effects that alcohol have when you have one drink and you quit. You put 5 drinks in somebody, they turn into a loudmouth. You put one drink into somebody and quit. No more food, no more alcohol. If they're thirsty, you give them water. And an hour and a half later, they're out like a baby. And it's actually a much more enjoyable thing for me now to have a drink like that. And when I get down to my weight that I want to be at, I'll probably do that most evenings. And then on Friday or Saturday or during a social engagement, I'll have 4 or 5 drinks responsibly, spaced out, make sure somebody's driving if I'm doing it in a couple hours or something, and that's it. And that's just the way we should be using alcohol in the first place. That's just the way we should be doing it in the first place. All right. The next one was, should you quit weighing yourself daily, and if so, how often? So I have, and I know whenever I do this, and I have people in this group, understand I have over 50 people now in my keto challenge. And no, you can't join. It's closed because I can't keep retrofitting people back into it. Like we're into this. We're going into our days 10 through 20 right now. But whenever I bring this up, there's some people that feel like they're being singled out. Like I'm talking to them personally. On some levels I am, but in reality is I have a lot of people in that group who are getting discouraged when they send me their email reports in, like their 10-day report, and they like, oh, this is so hard and I didn't do very much. And then you look at it and they lost 6 pounds in 10 days. Their body fat percentage went down by a point or 2 in 10 days. No diet they've ever been on in their life, no eating lifestyle change in their life has ever done that for them, and they're discouraged. And then they're like, oh man, days, the last 6 days, I didn't gain any weight, but I didn't lose a pound in the next 6 days. And I was, look, if that's you, just stop. The daily weigh-ins are for accountability. If you start slipping on your accountability, then maybe you need to put yourself through it again. The accountability, is you stay strict on the program, on the plan. You don't go over on your calories. You don't go over on your carbs. If you have a cheat day, you go over on your calories, but not your carbohydrates. And I'm going to actually probably Monday, I'm going to talk about cheat days. And Thomas LaFleur, whatever the hell his name is, the Canadian muscle dude, he has a video on cheat days. I'll try to find that. And I completely agree with his philosophy on cheat days. And so I'll put that out, and then I'll do my own version of it Monday for you. But that's what you do. That's what you do. You stick to it. And then I would say then maybe you need to be weighing yourself 7 days or 10 days. And if you lose a pound over 10 days, to be blunt, instead of whining about it, shut the fuck up and be happy. A pound a week is 50 plus pounds a year. Just stop whining about it. Stop being upset about it. Stop putting yourself through hell about it. In the last 3 days, guys, I have not dropped a pound. I've been losing through the whole thing on average 3.5 to 4.5 pounds every 10 days. In the last week, I've lost 1. It slows down for all of us at points. It slows down, it accelerates, and it does go up. I have one person that feels like she failed. She gained a pound or 2 pounds or something like that, but she lost 2% body fat. That's more important than the weight. And this girl's only like 130 pounds in the first place. You know who I'm talking about. You. Holy crap. This person's already in pretty good shape. What did you expect? And you still dropped 2% body fat. You still lost inches on your stomach and your hips. It takes women, it's a lot of work to start losing the hip weight. It really is. Like, you need to be happy. Enjoy what you're doing. If weighing yourself daily is making you miserable, quit doing it. If you find yourself stepping on the scale like 5 times a day, you really need to quit doing that. Unless it's okay, and like if it doesn't bother you, I weigh myself at night and then I weigh myself in the morning just to see how much I shed overnight. Sometimes I weigh myself in the middle of the day because I like seeing myself fully clothed with my belt and all my gear and stuff in my pockets, and I'm down in the low 220s fully like that in the middle of the day with food in my stomach. But I like it. I don't get upset if I go up a pound. If it's bothering you, if it's stressing you out, if it's depressing you, weighing yourself every day, quit. Just stop. And if at 10 days you weigh yourself and you're down a pound, pound and a half, be happy. Be happy with that, because this is what's going to happen for all of you. You're going to have a big dump. You're going to slow down. You're going to have a big dump. You're going to slow down. Pretty decent dump. You're going to slow down. You're going to creep up and down during this. And somewhere along the way, you're going to go on like this kind of long plateau. And you're going to be like, what the hell? Quit worrying about it. You follow the system. What's happening is your body is... Part of this is a direct weight loss. The other part of it is you are reprogramming your body and you're changing your hormones. And you're getting your hormones right. And eventually, your hormones are going to get right enough, your body's just going to start going, okay, get rid of this shit. And your weight will just, and then it'll freaking, like you'll be like, woohoo, like a roller coaster, woohoo, and then you're like, come on, go, go, go. Nope, not going to happen. You're just going to have to be patient. Trust the system and wait. And those of you that keep saying stuff like, yeah, I don't really enjoy eating this way the way you do, I'm going to tell you something. I've seen most of you post pictures, because I know most of you in my challenge. I've seen you guys posting pictures of food for a long time before we did this. And there was always meat in it. And there was always vegetables in it. Your pork chops and salad don't stop being pork chops and salad because you took away the potato. You do like eating this way. You just miss a piece of it. And here's the thing. Do you think if you keep focusing on what you miss, it will help you? The answer is no, it will not help you. If you keep saying to yourself, I don't like eating this way, do you think you'll ever start like eating this way? But what if you say to yourself all the time, I really love what I get to do now. I really love what I'm becoming. If your self-dialogue is wrong, I don't care what lifestyle you're trying to make, you will fucking sabotage yourself. I don't care if it's diet. I don't care if it's money. I don't care what it is. You got to get your self-dialogue right. So whenever you hear yourself inside your head or with your mouth or in writing enunciating the negative, I defy you to change it to a positive and take a commitment that I will do that 100% for 2 weeks and still feel the way you do 2 weeks later. 2 weeks of doing that, you're going to be like, I don't even know why I was so goddamn mopey. I don't understand. I don't know why I was like that at all. Man, this is amazing. I've done it with people with their jobs. They hate their job. And I'm like, I want you to write down everything you like about your job. Well, I don't like anything. Bullshit. Write down everything you like about it. And they come up with a list this long. I say, every time something comes up that makes you upset about your job, I want you to pull your list out, and I want you to read all that. And you do that with, and somebody comes back like a month later and go, man, I don't understand anything what you said or not, but it sure seems like everybody at my job changed. No, they did. You changed. It's self-dialogue, man. You got to get the self-dialogue right. Now, women do seem to have more stalls, regains, etc., even when they do everything right. And that is especially true of women who still get their monthly cycles. Women will, during that cycle period, have times where they retain 2-3 pounds of water easily. And when you're measuring weight loss by the pound and you're adding 3 pounds of water during a natural cycle that is totally what you should be doing as a healthy female, then you can erase the loss that you don't see. It's underneath there. That's why it's important to be doing the measurements as well. And maybe spreading them out 10 to 20 days is even better. Okay, so that's one reason. The other reason is that because women are estrogen dominant, which is good for you because you'd be pretty ugly if you weren't, and men are testosterone dominant, we have an easier time burning calories. Additionally, since, regardless of what the TV tells you about there's no difference between the sexes or some stupid shit like that, any doctor will tell you that's nonsense. It's kind of important when he's trying to diagnose you. He knows if you have testicles or ovaries, because it might affect the kind of cancer you have, just for one example. Men are more muscular than women, and muscle burns more calories than the rest of your body does. So when I have a lean muscle mass of about 170 pounds, and you have a lean muscle mass of about 90 pounds, and we're doing the same stuff, I'm going to burn fat faster than you. I know it doesn't seem fair, but it's the way that it is. And again, understand that it's hormonally based, and that's why if you put a 7-year-old little boy and a 7-year-old little girl in front of you and look at them from behind with like their head shaved, and you just look at their silhouette, like you backlight them, so all you can see is a silhouette. You don't know which one the boy is and which one the girl is. Same food, same diet, same age, same height. Can't tell the difference. Maybe that one is 50-50. Flip a coin. 16-year-old little girl, 16-year-old little boy, same thing. Hair hidden so you can't see anything. Just the silhouette of their body from behind. You're like, that's the girl, that's the boy. Why? Same food, same diet, same height, same weight. So what told the girl to put more fat on their hips and have that shape and and grow breasts? Hormones did it. There's nothing else different. What else? And we could suppress the girl's estrogen and give her testosterone, and suppress the boy's testosterone and give him estrogen, and you'll pick him wrong. The boy will look like the girl, and the girl will look like the boy. It's hormonally driven. So you have additional challenges losing weight if you're female. It still works, and you just have to trust the system and work. When I taught my son when he was a little bitty kid to build a fire, and I taught him, like, here's the tinder, and then here's a little bit of kindling, and then there's, and we would build the fire, and he would get impatient and say, if you trust the system, and you do what you're supposed to do, one match, one flame, and eventually you're going to have a roaring fire. But you have to trust the system. He was 9. He got it. He learned to trust the system. If my 9-year-old son, who's now a 30-year-old man, can learn to trust the system at 9, you can learn to trust the system here. It's biology. It's chemistry. It works. It's nutrition. It works. Now, I want to kind of end with a little bit of some humor. And so I made my own question just so I could answer it. What is the stupidest thing that a mainstream medical professional has said so far about keto? Holy fuck, you won't believe this. So a guy told me today, his name's Pete, on Facebook, that when he went to he was so excited about how well keto works. He's lost 50 freaking pounds. So he was telling everybody at the doctor's office that's how he lost 50 pounds. And this nurse, who should not be a nurse, I would honestly, if I were Pete, and I said this to him in a comment, I would report her to the state nursing board for incompetence in subject matter. Not for her opinion, but for what she stated as though it were a medical fact. She said that it won't work and all the weight will come back as soon as you eat carbs again. So first of all, that is opinion, and that's fine. You can have opinion. That's actually factual if you actually do what she said, and that's true of any diet. That's true of any diet. So what you're saying is if I go back to the behavior that made me fat, I will become fat again. No shit, Sherlock. Jeez, good Lord. How do these people graduate nursing school? Seriously. It was what she said next. Honest to God, if I sat on a licensing board, I would pull her license. She said, because keto doesn't kill your fat cells, it only shrinks them. There is a meme that goes around, and I think it's Captain Picard, Commander Riker, and maybe Worf from Star Trek: The Next Generation, the show from the 80s. And all three of them are like this. And it says triple facepalm for when somebody says something stupid. Somebody needs to find one with like 5 of them. Just, first of all, we don't kill fat cells. We burn them. And fat cells don't shrink. They're burned. That's how that works. Your goal in a diet isn't to shrink or kill. It's not a tumor. Your body stores fat, and actually, you don't get rid of fat cells. In a way, she's right, but I guarantee you she doesn't have a way to explain it. The human body is actually only capable of producing so many fat cells. Kind of like the human female can only produce so many ovum, and then they go through menopause, right? Ovaries, right? So many eggs, right? So they have 2 ovaries. I'm sorry, almost as dumb as her now because I told you it would it's made my IQ go down. That's how stupid this is. So females will only produce a certain number of eggs, and then they go through menopause because they can't produce them anymore. They're out. My ducks do that. Ducks produce 1,500 eggs in their life. When they lay the 1,500th egg, there's no more. They're done. They go through duckapause. Chickens do 1,000. And what we say a chicken does when it lays its last egg, it goes through henopause, right? To kind of play on it. And so there's certain things that are constants. And so no matter how fat you get, your body can actually only produce so many fat cells. This is how this was explained to me by a doctor that seemed like he knew what he's talking about years ago. So maybe I'm wrong, but this is what he explained to me. And he actually said that when people get to a certain amount of obesity, there's actually a medication they can give them that will save their life that allows them to produce more fat cells. So when we have a fat cell, we actually burn off the fat. My understanding is the cell is still there. It's just not storing fat. It's a fat storage cell. So if she wants to call that shrinking, that's how weight loss works. And it amazes me that we have people in the medical profession that are giving people nutritional advice that don't have the most basic understanding of human nutrition or human biology. And I think somebody that stupid should not be a medical professional and should not have a license to practice medicine even as a nurse. Like that is literally, I don't know if it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, because it isn't. I've heard some stupid shit. It is the dumbest thing I've heard this week. And as dumb as some of the shit that medical professionals say about keto, it is the dumbest thing so far. The reason I brought this up, I'd like to know, have you heard something dumber? Have you heard something stupider? What is the stupidest thing you've ever heard come out of a medical professional's mouth about keto? Comment below and let me know what that is. Because I'm going to warn you, if you start reading those comments, it might, I even got some things wrong because I think stupid is contagious. But here's my other question for all these doctors and nurses giving people nutritional advice. Why are so many of you so freaking fat? I just read the statistics in America. Over 50% of nurses in America are overweight or obese. Half. And if you go to over 40 years of age, I don't even want to tell you how bad it gets, but it's more than half. How can you be running around as a fat ass telling other people that they shouldn't do something that's already helped them lose more weight, than you should be carrying, and you're carrying double it? How can you have a 300-pound woman tell a man who's lost 50 pounds he's wrong? And how many doctors are fat too? It seems like it's a little bit less, but man, I've seen some fat ass doctors advising people that they shouldn't eat fat because it'll make them fat. If you're fat, unless you're actively losing weight with your diet, and I mean significantly, where you can see the results over 30, 40 days, shut up about how other people should be eating. It's my thoughts. Anyway, have you heard anything dumber than that? If so, let me know what it is. Or have you ever heard anything stupid come out of a medical professional's mouth about ketogenics other than it just doesn't work? We hear that all the time. Let me know below. Remember, the cause of the solution to all of your problems is in the mirror that's in your bathroom. On the floor is a scale. You get on ketogenics, that scale might become your friend instead of your enemy. Catch you guys on Monday.